What is up, my Lorcana goons? Today is Tuesday, November 7th, and we got some Lorcana stuff to talk about today because we've gotten a couple reveals since yesterday and overnight through the French Discord and through a bunch of content creators of Lorcana. So let's check out some of these cards, shall we? Starting with our first one, we have Master Owl. This is going to be the translation right here. This is a vanilla. It's a 1 ink inkable, 2 strength, 2 willpower character that quests for 1. Very similar to Flounder, Stitch New Dog, or Sergeant Tibbs, for example, but it is a Sapphire version. This is the French version, but we have the translation here. The flavor text is, for example, based on the current brightness and the subtle change in the wind direction, I can undoubtedly say that it is tea time. Wow, love it. Very interesting Winnie the Pooh reference. Pretty cool. More Winnie the Pooh characters that don't seem super powerful, but it would have been pretty cool to see some more powerful Winnie the Pooh characters. But we do have another 1 ink character for Sapphire. You guys let me know, are you going to be playing this over Flounder or not? I know Citizens of Lorcana is a Flounder diehard, so maybe not, but maybe this might have some Winnie the Pooh synergy. I don't know. Either way, pretty cool to see the owl, right? The next card we have, though, is going to be the Hunter. This is a steel card. It's the Hunter Reluctant Henchman. Storyborn ally, 2 ink character, inkable, and it has 1 strength, 1 willpower, but it quests for 2 lore, and it has the ability that says Heart Exchange. When this character is sent on a quest, you can draw a card and then discard a card. Flavor text is run to hide anywhere in the woods. This card is kind of similar to the new Cinderella cards for steel that we're getting, and very similar to the current Simba Future King card that we have. It's a card that lets you dig through your deck, lets you draw a card, but you have to discard a card as well. So it doesn't give you a +1, but it's a way to kind of run through your deck faster. It is a little slower than those cards because the Cinderella and the Simba happen on play. However, this card does quest for 2 lore, so it is a bit aggressive. Unfortunately, it only has 1 willpower and 1 strength, so it just doesn't seem like it's going to survive very long. It's basically a Lilo or Maleficent that cost 1 more ink, but it is inkable, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, it has its ups and downs, but is it going to be a super relevant card? Probably not, in my opinion. But if you are playing a deck that needs to draw through cards, you know, maybe like the Whole New World wheel deck with the Emerald and Steel, if you want to play a card like this, so you don't have to play cards like Ransack, so you can kind of dig through your deck a little faster. So that's kind of interesting. The next card we have, though, is going to be a fan favorite. Shout out Poke Breezy, Y Breezy on Twitter and YouTube, who's been begging for the Cusco Llama card. So we have Cusco Llama. Here we go. Cusco Llama wanted. Lama version of Kuzco, everybody. It's not a shift character. He's actually weaker than the Emperor Kuzco, which kind of makes sense, right? Because Kuzco doesn't really get stronger as he becomes a llama. He starts freaking out. But we have Kuzco, Storyborn King Lama. And he has an ability that says, well then, where am I? When this character is banished, you can draw a card. It's a 2 ink character. It's inkable. It has a 1 strength and 2 willpower. And as you read, when it's banished, you draw a card. So it's a floater. It's a very basic kind of floater in TCGs where if a card leaves the field or gets destroyed, for example, gets banished in a challenge, or this is just banished in general, actually, you draw a card. We've seen many cards like this throughout like the history of TCGs, so it's pretty cool that the Cusco Llama gets this ability. Basically a character that will net you a +1 if it gets banished. So the cards like this are always good on tempo. It is kind of weak, but given the fact that a lot of Amethyst cards that you draw already, this does kind of have some synergy, and you can always just crash it into another opposing character, draw a card. And obviously, if you want to combine it with cards like Megara or any card that'll give Cusco more strength, then you can get some more value out of that. But it does seem kind of cool. I wonder if there's going to be any more Amethyst synergy with drawing cards or overall Cusco synergy. That'd be kind of cool. But this is a Storyborn. We still need a Floodborn Kuzco, so maybe we might see a crazier shift Kuzco in the future. I forgot to mention his flavor text says, here I am, perfectly controlling the situation. So as you can tell, Kuzco's in the forest. This is like when he first realizes he's a llama because he still has his emperor clothes on. It's kind of cool. I actually just saw the movie recently, so I like that. I understand these references now. But we'll go on to the next card. The next one is Cinderella. We have a Cinderella Ballroom Sensation. This card's pretty good in my opinion, actually. It's an amber card. Amber always getting the best cards in my opinion. It's a 1 ink inkable character and it has one strength, 2 willpower, and quests for 1 lore. It's a rare card as well, with a flavor text that says, with a magical dress and a song in her heart, she dazzled everyone at the ball. And her ability is a Singer 3. So this card can count for a cost 3 to sing a song. So you can have this on field turn 1, and by turn 2, you can already start using your cards like Friends on the Other Side, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, or if there's any other 3 ink songs that I can't think of right now, you'll be able to use them like Part of Your World, etc., etc. So that's kind of cool. We've seen Singer 5s be very relevant in Chapter 1, like Ariel, and even Cinderella, the other Cinderella. So who knows, maybe this Singer 3 will be pretty good. I know we have Sebastian. I think he's a Singer 3 or a Singer 4 as well. But Sebastian isn't really used in the meta because he is a higher cost character. But being able to use a 1 ink character to speed up the process of using cards like Friends on the Other Side might be kind of good. So in an aggro tempo kind of Amber Amethyst deck, I would love to utilize this with Friends on the Other Side. But if you guys think of any other cards that you can think of that are going to be in Chapter 2 or in Chapter 1 that make this card pretty good, please drop them in the comments below, because I just saw these cards this morning and I'm just trying to think of combo plays or cards that go good with this. But I'm sure there's cards that I'm forgetting, because just reading this, it sounds really good, but I just can't think of the card pool right now. I just woke up, guys. These cards are revealed overnight and it's crazy. It's always a burst of energy when I wake up to new cards, right? Next card we have though is gonna be the Queen, disguised as a beggar. I almost forgot that this is the same Queen that is using the magic mirror and whatnot, right? So here we have a 3 ink uninkable. It's gonna have 2 strength, 3 willpower, and it's going to have an ability that says the perfect costume. Choose a character and discard it. You gain lore equal to the number of lore that was on that character that is discarded. Okay, that's interesting. So this character actually doesn't have lore herself. It's a super rare, and it doesn't have any lore. You can't quest with it, obviously, because it doesn't have any lore to quest with. So instead, the way you gain lore with this card is by discarding a card that has lore on it, which is pretty cool because you don't have to commit to playing that character on the field anymore. So you can ditch stuff like Hans or the new Ray card, or even like Mad Hatter or Kuzco, because those all quest for 3 lore. And you don't have to play them on the field anymore. You can just, on turn 4, you can quest with this Queen, discard that card, and then you gain the 3 lore, and you can still play a Cusco in addition to discarding a Cusco, for example. So you're threatening the board more, and if you have more synergy on the field, like a Prince John or something, you're just going to be drawing the card you discard after, which is kind of cool, right? So discard synergy making a big impact on Chapter 2 is what it's looking like, with some of these cards that seem pretty nice to combo off with, right? And then the Queen is obviously a villain as well, so it's going to have that villain synergy. We have the flavor text here. It says, it's not an ordinary apple. So kind of cool. Very exciting that we're getting some Snow White references and new characters like the Queen in Lorcana that not only have unique effects, but unique effects that apply to their color, like Emerald, right? So we're seeing this discard synergy with Emerald. You guys let me know if this card's going to be good or meta impactful. I think cards like this are good and meta impactful because normally right now in Lorcana, you can kind of tell when your opponent is about to quest for game. They set up a board and you have to decide, okay, they're about to quest for 10 and they're at 10 lore exactly. So I have to eliminate cards so that they can't quest for 10, right? In this scenario, it's a lot harder because when they set up cards like this, you don't know what cards are in your opponent's hand. You don't know if they have lethal. You don't know if they're setting up for lethal. So sometimes you have to really play around it by assuming they have lethal, or maybe you can trick your opponent. Your opponent doesn't see that you have lethal on the board because they don't know what cards you have in your hand. You could have a 4 lore character in your hand and they won't know it. And you can just, on your next turn, if you're at 16 lore, if they're not reading it, bam, discard a 4 lore character, you win the game. Pretty interesting card. I like cards like this. I think they're pretty powerful. Do not sleep on that card. Now we have Jafar. This is Jafar the Royal Vizier. This card was revealed yesterday like last night as well. This is a 2 ink steel card. Inkable, has 3 strength, 2 willpower with an ability that says, I don't trust him, sire. During your turn, this card gains evasive. They can challenge other evasive characters. Flavor text is, soon you will learn who holds the real power. So another Jafar card. This is pretty cool. I like that we're getting a 2 ink character with 3 strength and 2 willpower. I like those stats for a steel card. Steel could definitely use some strong stats like that to help help with the removal abilities that steel does not have sometimes. And obviously, you gain the evasive, kind of like the way we had Li Shang gain evasive on your own turn. So that's kind of cool. It lets you out some evasive cards like Pongo. This also lets you out stuff like Tinkerbell, most helpful. And you get a lot of value out of it because this is only a 2 ink character, whereas all those characters I mentioned are 3 and 4 ink characters, right? If you want to utilize Jafar, you can combo it off with the new Jafar. The next Jafar that we also got revealed is Jafar Dreadnut. This is a shift Jafar, so you can shift this and play it on turn 2, but it is a 4 ink character, inkable. It has 3 strength and 4 willpower with an ability that says, Nowhere were we. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may draw a card. So pretty cool. You can catch your opponent off guard by playing this the first Jafar on turn 2, and then you play Jafar Dreadnut by shifting it on turn 3. Not only can you do it on turn 3 because it's a shift, but if your opponent wasn't playing around that ability, you can challenge one of their characters and then you draw a card. So if they're setting up a Lilo Simba play and you respond with Jafar, not only can this Jafar eliminate the Simba, but if you shift into the Jafar Dreadnut, you can draw a card if you eliminate that Simba, right? So challenging with this Jafar can get you a +1. It is a little slow though, so it might be something that your opponent can't play around. However, right now in Lorcana, sometimes you just can't play around everything. So this might be a good card to combo off in the future with other Jafar cards, like the Amethyst one we have. But drawing cards in Lorcana is always good, so that sounds like a good effect to me, right? We also have Cilla DeVille, Perfectly Wretched. So this is a 5 ink inkable character. It has 4 strength, 3 willpower. It's a shift 3, so you can play it on top of a Cilla. That's kind of cool, right? A Cilla shift with an ability that says, oh no you don't. Whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character gets a -2 strength this turn. So honestly, this effect is lackluster. For a shift Corella, I thought it would be a lot stronger of an ability, but the effect is just okay in my opinion. I like that Sapphire does kind of run on this kind of theme of trying to control the mid game by using cards like this to manipulate strength and willpower and stuff like that. Really take advantage of good trades. However, this card's just too slow. If this card happened when you played it and when it quested, that would be a little better. But the fact that you have to wait a significant amount of time, if you can't shift this character, you have to play it and then quest it in order to get that ability off. So it's a little too slow in my opinion, not the best card. However, I love the artwork and I love the flavor text. Let's read the flavor text. It says, "It's ink couture, darling. I wear only the best." That's freaking hilarious. I love the ink references to the characters in Lorcana right now. And this is exactly how Corella would act too. A villain who would be obsessed with ink and would be wearing it on her sleeve. Love it. And then it's like a paparazzi kind of feel in the picture. The artwork, amazing. The card, not so amazing in my opinion. But that's really cool. So that's what I love about Lorcana. The casual in me just can appreciate everything about it. And the competitive player in me definitely wants to see some more Corella cards make a metagame impact. But not every card can be meta impactful, guys. Some cards have to be good in draft. Some cards just aren't good in general, and that's okay. So next card though is a broken card in my opinion. This card is really good. It's called Nothing to Hide. It's a 1 ink inkable action card, and it says each opponent reveals their hand, draw a card. So the reason why I think this card is really good, and why a lot of people think it's really good, and why people say it's the goo, is because information in card games is so important. I don't care what you say, but if you get to look at your opponent's hand in any card game at any point in the card game, you are at a huge advantage. This is a 1 ink card that lets you do it potentially on turn 1, and then it lets you do it throughout the game. Playing with your opponent's hand knowledge reassures you anything you need to know about that game state. It lets you know whether or not you have to play around stuff like grab your swords, Dragonfire, be prepared, Hades, let it go. The information is insane to know. The big difference in Lorcana than other games though is that note taking is not allowed. So you cannot write down what's in your opponent's hand, whereas in other games like Yu-Gi-Oh, you can do that. So you guys got to start getting that memory quantity of, right? So when you activate this card and you look at your opponent's hand, you just take a photographic snapshot and you know what they have in their hand. But playing with the opponent's information is super strong, and you draw a card. So this card just replaces itself, which is always really good in a lot of decks, because if you're playing a 60 card deck and you start using these effectively, your deck becomes a 56 card deck kind of, because you're just top decking. You're playing a card, you're drawing it, right? After a certain amount of time in a deck like Sapphire, that 1 ink is irrelevant. You've ramped ink so much that you can pay 1 ink to draw a card, and then you get to look at your opponent's hand. I think it's very powerful. I think it makes Sapphire a super strong contender in the meta coming up, especially with some of the other cards we're getting in Sapphire as well. But let me know what you guys think. I've seen some people say this card isn't that good. Personally, I think this card is very good. So I'm very excited to see what this card does in the meta. Maybe it makes a huge impact. Maybe it makes no impact. These are just my opinions, guys. So thanks again for listening to my opinions. And if you agree or disagree with my opinions, leave a comment in the comment section, right? So next one we have is going to be Shesher Cat from the Shadows. This card is super nice. This is probably going to be one of my favorite cards from Chapter 2 so far. Not only because of the artwork, but because of the sheer ability, and overall, I just didn't expect Shesher Cat to have a shift character, which I think is awesome, right? Because now we're starting to really see the creative depths of the Lorcana team. Being able to turn our dear old Shesher Cat, one of our fan favorites, into a Floodborn character, a boss character that seems that that is really gonna take control of some of these games, right? It can really sway you some match wins, in my opinion. But let's go ahead and take a look at this card. It's gonna be an 8 ink inkable. It's gonna have 5 strength, 6 willpower, and it'll quest for 2 lore. It's gonna be a shift 5, so you can slap this on top of another Shesher Cat for 5 ink. And we have 2 Shesher Cats now, by the way. We have the original from Chapter 1, and then we have the new Shesher Cat that's a vanilla. So you can slap it on, and it has evasive. We all know what evasive does. And then it has an effect called Wicked Smile, where you exert this character and you banish a chosen damaged character. So you do have to banish a damaged character, putting a little bit of a stipulation on his ability to remove a character from the field. However, it's still very powerful when you can combo this off with steel cards like Fire the Cannons, Tinkerbell, Grab Your Swords, you know, and I'm sure there's going to be a Robin Hood, Hans. There's going to be plenty of other cards that deal damage in steel, but there's also combo decks already in Emerald that generate you value when you're using your opponent's damaged characters. So it is running off that theme. I'm very curious to see what other cards they release in Lorcana to support this card, because overall, the fact that it's an evasive with 5, 6, and a quest for 2 is just pretty strong. Being able to curve this on shift on 5 for a shift ability, it seems like you're going to be able to take control of that game rather quickly. It's a really good boss monster that your opponent's going to have to play around. Realistically, they're going to have some type of removal or even just multiple evasive characters to challenge this big body, right? Because I don't think there's many one evasive characters that can challenge just one time and get rid of it. It seems like it's going to have to be multiple characters or a big spot removal to get rid of this card, like Dragonfire, which not every deck plays, right? So sometimes cards like this are just going to be able to take control of the game. I love it. I love the artwork and I love the ability. The fact that it has a shift ability, evasive, and it has an extra ability that lets you remove characters on the board is kind of wild. So any card that has 3 plus sides, in my opinion, is always going to be good. But we will get on to the last couple cards that we have here. Just some honorable mentions. These were released last week, but we did get the official English translation for Shere Khan. Shere Khan is a very strong card in Chapter 2, in my opinion, as well. It is a 3 ink character inkable. It has 3 strength and 3 willpower, and it has 1 lore, and it has the ability that says when one of your characters challenges another character, gain 1 lore. You don't even have to banish the character you challenge. You don't even have to win the challenge. Nothing. You just have to make sure any of your characters challenges another character and you gain 1 lore. That is a very strong effect, guys. And if you have multiple Shere Khans on your field, I'm pretty sure that stacks. I'm pretty sure if I have 2 Shere Khans and I use my flounder to challenge one of your Maleficent dragons, then I gain 2 lore per each, 1 for each Shere Khan. And that's really strong. Another card in Lorcana that kind of plays around its win condition, the game's win condition. Instead of having to quest for the lore, all you have to do is challenge. So these are cards your opponent's going to have to start playing around and really start thinking about, am I going to be in lethal range if he plays a Shere Khan and starts challenging characters, right? So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool effect. I think this is probably one of the strongest effects we've seen in Lorcana Chapter 2. Not only is that ability strong, it's the overall stats of Shere Khan. It's a 3 ink 3/3. Those stats are perfect. They did not need to give this character that effect because those stats are so perfect. They could have even gone as far as to make sure she didn't have a lore shard, but they definitely made this card, I want to say, the goo. So very strong card in Chapter 2. Let me know what you guys think. Overall, I think it has great synergy with a lot of Ruby cards that already let you manipulate lore in your favor. Then we also have Ray. This is a card that was revealed, I believe, in French or something like that. This is a 5 ink inkable 3/3, and it has 3 lore. I just want to talk about this card real quick because I didn't get to talk about it last week. A lot of cards I didn't get to talk about last week, but I think this card's kind of good. It's a common, and it can replace a lot of your 3 lore characters that you've been needing to pick up, like Hans or maybe Kuzco or something. So you can make some budget decks with this. And it has evasive, so it is hard to get around. You have to remove it with cards like Smash or Double Fire the Cannons. I think this is pretty strong in my opinion. It's just giving more aggression to a lot of the Emerald decks. And I'm probably gonna try and make a Lemon Lime aggro deck next chapter, and this is probably gonna be going in there, right? But that's pretty much all we have today for new cards in Lorcana. Please, Lorcana, if you're going to be revealing cards, give us some grace periods so that we can make videos because they keep coming back to back to back. Overall, I'm really excited for Chapter 2, though. I really hope I can get my hands on it. I'm really hoping you guys can get your hands on it as well. Please let me know what you guys think of these brand new cards that were just revealed. Are they any good? Which ones are the best? What combos are you going to be making? And join our Discord. Link in the description below, guys. We have a lot of goons in the Discord now, chopping it up. Every time the new cards come out, we're sharing them and we're discussing some new tactics and some new plays we can do with these potential cards, right? The potential goo. We like discussing the potential goo. So I'll leave links in the description below for those. Thank you guys again for watching Lorcana Goons. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you like Lorcana content, and we will see you goons next time.